All right. So, welcome everyone. I'm Maggie, and hopefully, we'll be successfully converting some of your documents into accessible PDFs during this workshop. On the community of practice page, I have a handout for you on creating accessible PDFs. If you got one before today, um, download the new one because this is new and it has more information, more instructions, more images and whatnot. So that should help. And what I'm planning to do today is just to go through all of the instructions and show you on some documents that I'm doing. And also hopefully you will be doing something as well. So first step is everyone open the document that you're planning to work on. Okay, so you're seeing my entire screen here. Now why this is open. Okay, so this is my entire screen and I have several items that we can be working on together here. This is a poem from the book, The Crossover. This is a textbook reading that I assign in one of my classes. This is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland that we're doing in my children's lit class. This is Gardner's Multiple Intelligence. And then this is Molly Bang's book, Picture This, about illustrations. So very different kinds of texts, and hopefully we'll be looking at different things with each text and what we can do with them. So the first thing we want to do when we have a text open on our desktop, does everyone have something open that they're working with? Okay. So the first thing that I suggest doing is to uh, set the language. So you would go to File and Properties, and then you open it up, and mine always opens to Advanced, probably because I set language a lot, so it knows to go there. And you just go to the language portion down here and set it as English. That's the first step in making anything accessible. Once I've done that, I like to save it, and then I know that the language is set.
I got a little lost. Can you go through that one more time? Because I was trying to do it on my document. I got to document properties, but I'm not seeing language. But let me.
Yes. So up top, you'll see the description, security, fonts, initial view, custom, and advanced. You want to go to advanced.
Okay. Advanced. It's just blank where it says language.
Yes. So then you'll open up the pull down and find whatever language you're working on with, probably English.
I don't have a pull down.
Do you want to share your screen?
I'm sorry. Yes, I guess I will.
Let me see. Yeah. This is interesting. It could be that we're working in different versions or something.
Let's see.
I'll stop my share so that you can share. Interesting. So, are you working in Adobe Acrobat DC? Show me your version.
How do I do that? Just
go up to, let's see, you're missing a couple things that I have. I have description, security, fonts, initial view, and custom, and then advanced. Okay, so go up to where it says Adobe Acrobat DC.
Yep.
And then about.
Yeah, it's not, this might be, I'm having operating system issues. I have a really old operating system on my computer. I'm trying to get it updated. And it might be because of that, because it's not filled in when it says about Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. So I might just have to listen today. But anyway,
Okay.
I don't want to slow us down.
Okay. Was everyone else able to set their language? Did that work? Okay. Fabulous. Also, if you had a previous version of Adobe Acrobat, because yours shouldn't, it should not say Adobe Reader, it should say Adobe Acrobat Pro DC.
Okay.
And so you might have it just open with the wrong program if you had a
Okay.
previous version. So you might want to try right clicking on the document and open with in your Finder window
Okay.
and open with the correct version of the program.
Okay.
All right. So that's one page. We've done one page. We only have 17 pages, guys. All right. So at this point, I like to divide my pages. This is not necessary. It's not something you have to do. I like to do it because I feel more secure that if I completely mess something up, I've only messed up one page and I only have to redo one page, as opposed to if I've messed up a 17-page document and I'm on page 17 and now I've messed up an entire document and I have to redo things. So it's just really for me to feel more secure that I'm not going to mess things up. It's absolutely not necessary. But if you want to know how to divide your pages, this is how I would go about doing it. Hang on, I got some chats. Okay. The downloadable instructions are in the community of practice page or Canvas shell. And they're in the accessible document module. It's called Creating Accessible PDFs. Cynthia, you're working with PDF with a chart. So that will be one of the last things we talk about. Actually, I don't have that on our handout. So it's something that I can add to our handout, but it's something that I work with a lot. So I can absolutely talk about that as we move down. Okay, so if we are moving things into pages, let me share my screen again. Okay, so I open up this left-hand ribbon and the top is the page thumbnails view. So now I can see my thumbnails. So I have this saved as the crossover fast break because that's the name of the poem and that's the name of the book. If I wanted to work with, say, just this first page, I would just delete this page and then save as something else. So I'll say fast break page 1. It's actually page 149, but whatever, it's page 1 for me. And so now I'm just working with this one page. And if you look at my Finder, you'll see that, oh, lots of things here. I still have the full text as well. So when I open this one up, I still have the 2 pages on this one. So this one, I'm just working with one page, but I preserved my original document. I like preserving the original document too, because sometimes years down the road, right? Like the first time I scanned these things in, well, not this, but the first time I scanned the Gardner text in, it was in 2012. And Adobe Acrobat wasn't as robust as it is now. So now I can go back to my original text and really clean it up even more, which is nice. Okay. So here I'm working with my page and I have deleted everything else. So now we have to open up our toolbars. So, let me reset. Okay, so to open up your toolbars, this is the More Tools button. It looks like a little wrench and a plus, and you're going to open that up. And you want to add, for our purposes here, there are two toolbars that you want to add. First is the edit PDF bar. It's in this create and edit column. And then you move down to the protect and standardize area and you add the accessibility toolbar. Now from here, my biggest learning curve on the newest Adobe was how the heck do I get back to my document? Which is so silly, but that's where I got stuck. And really all you have to do is you click on the name of the document that you want to deal with. All right, so here we have the document and OCRing. This is the next thing we're going to do. So optical character recognition. This is where the magic really happens. So first, before we move into OCR, is everyone been able to open the editing toolbar and the accessibility toolbar?
I'm kind of a little bit slow. I think I need two screens to do this because I'm trying to like toggle and so I'll be okay. I'm just gonna follow along as well. I think I lost a step.
Okay, so you have your document open in Adobe Acrobat,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, and I have the two. I must have. I think the step that I lost was the one right after that. Like, which ones do I click? And I don't know
Okay.
why I was so distracted.
It's okay. So now we have all the different tools open, the more tools.
Uh-huh.
Do you have that open?
I have that open.
Okay, so click on the edit PDF.
Okay.
You're gonna add that.
Okay.
And
then
then-
it goes into this weird like new lines appear on the text. Okay, and then
Yes.
what's the next thing?
Then you go back to that more tools and you add your accessibility toolbar, which is
Oh,
scroll
and
down almost to the bottom.
how do I go back to that other one? That was the part that I got goofed up on. So now I'm in the text and then I go back to the same tools thing.
Correct.
Oh, that's so easy. I don't know why I didn't
Yeah.
do that. Okay. And then which is the next one I'm getting?
Accessibility. You scroll all the way down. It should be.
Oh, okay. Oh
the
my
second one.
goodness gracious. Okay, got it. It's starting to make sense. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, now I can click back on the document. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. This whole workshop is for you to actually have something done by the time we're finished. So if you're, if you skipped a step or you missed something, please stop me, because the whole point of this is that you're actually being able to do things, right?
Okay.
Not just watching me do things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very important. Okay, so now we're all here. We have our two toolbars. So optical character recognition is the next step too. So optical character recognition is where the computer program actually looks at the document and actually visualizes the words and the letters and recognizes them as words and letters and translates them into computer code of words and letters so that the document can be modified or it can be highlighted or assistive technology can read it, right? So it can be translated into Braille or read aloud through a screen reader, that kind of thing. So this is really where the magic happens here. And if you have OCR, then you're already moving into a very much more accessible document. So the way one would do that is you now have to open that edit PDF menu. It's that pink menu.
Mm-hmm.
And when this one I've opened before, so it doesn't take that long, but for yours, it may very well take a couple seconds for it to say like reading the text or converting to editable text, that kind of thing. So if it's doing that, you just want to wait until it's done. And then you'll see what happens is it has all these boxes around the letters. Once it has the boxes around the letters, you want to click into the boxes and just make sure that it is actually editable. That will ensure you that, yes, it actually read these letters. I'm working here with a poem because I think that the poem, the actual way that it looks on the page is important for reading the poem, right? And so this is where something like retyping this into Canvas might lose some of what I want the students to understand in the poem. If I were to do this in Gardner, of course I can, and I should. It's probably less of a barrier to the meaning of the text to like copy and paste this into a Canvas page, right? But there are instances where it's more important to see the poem or the text as it appears on the page. So that's why OCR is important. That's how we make it OCR, right? We ask it to edit. Now, has anyone said like edit this page or on the edit and the boxes don't appear around the text? All right, we're doing well. So Reed, usually now in the updated version of Adobe Acrobat DC, when you click into this, for me at least, if it's at all on the diagonal or slanted, it actually writes it. So you'll see that kind of happen. It kind of picks it back up. And I'm trying to see if I have any of these. No, I think mine are all probably pretty. Oh, maybe this one. Okay, so let's see. This is one that I haven't really worked with yet. So see, it's converting. Okay. And now let's see if it'll write it a little bit when I click into it. Yep. It kind of like shifted just a little bit so that it would be standard straight text. And it will do this. It's going to have to convert this. And here we go.
So it's
And you
really
can
just
see it.
clicking the boxes themselves individually?
Yep, you just click in the box itself and then it kind of springs it up. And so I like to actually click into all my boxes and make sure that we've created editable text. And it looks like we have. So if you, is anyone having trouble with this, or are you able to click in to the text itself?
So I have some chapter titles that have multiple boxes, like it says introduction, and it's just picking up on like the IN, the O, the I, and they're all individually different boxes.
Yes. So
what should I do with those?
We can fix that, certainly. But before we go into fixing the tags and fixing things like that, I like to clean up the page if possible. So we are on the, if you have the handout, we're on the editing document page. So there are a few things that I like to think about when I'm editing a document. So one of the great things about this is that it's reading everything as an image. So like this over here, right? This that you see like the little tiny blue outline around, that it's reading it as a picture, right? And that's just a shadow from the binding of the book, and we don't need that. So I can delete that when I'm in edit mode. And that brightens up the text a lot. You don't realize how much, or at least I don't realize how much, just that little bit makes it seem a lot darker and harder to read. And when I delete it, it seems a lot brighter to me. Like over here, this is just the edge of the page. You can delete that if you'd like. You don't have to, certainly. These are just ways that I can manipulate the text to make it easier to read for not only a screen reader, but also my sighted students, right? This one, for example, it's really dark. I don't know why the scanner read it so dark. So if you want to, you don't have to. This shows, the constraint of the page. This is the page against the blankness of the scanner. So you can eliminate that and make it just a clear page.
Could you show that one more time, how to do that?
Sure. So It's actually easier, I think, to see on the Gardner text. Let me go back to this one. So if you click on the element that you want to eliminate, I want to eliminate this shadow. So I'll click on it and you'll see that blue box emerge around the entire element. And then all I do is I press the delete key and it goes away. Now on this page, it's the whole background. It's reading it as one big picture. So when I click on it, you can't really tell, but you can see this little tiny piece of circle right here, which is that the edge of that blue box. But when it's looking at the whole page as a picture, you won't be able to see that blue box around it. So it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm like, oh no, is this going to erase all my text? But when I try it, I see that it just eliminates all that messy background. So that's just one thing that you can do with your text if you want to kind of clean up all of these edges that might be a little distracting for your readers. Okay. Should I give you all a minute to do those types of things?
I think I'm okay. I think
Okay.
I'm okay to move on.
Ready to move on? Okay.
I kind of feel like my project is a little bit like they're PDFs from a former professor, and they just have a lot of his charts always had colors on them, and and some of them overlap, and I just I still don't have an intuition about this yet, so I'm just kind of really learning. So anything you say, Maggie, is going to help.
Okay. Well, the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is to change the text color.
Okay.
So sometimes what happens when I scan things is that they end up really light. Like this text in the book is the same color as this text. Why is this text so light gray? I have no idea. I don't know why that happened, but I can modify that. So have I OCR'd this? Yes. Okay, so here we are. And I click in, and you can see that the color that it's selected for this text is this like light grayish color. And I don't want it to be light gray. I want it to be dark. So I'm going to highlight my text, and then I'm going to select a black color. And you can see that it changed it to that darker text color for me. You can also choose it to be red or blue or whatever. So if you have a chart from a former professor and you don't want it to be as colorful, you can change those colors just by clicking on things that way.
So when you say OCRing, we're talking about just going in to create those boxes around. Is that correct?
Yes. So OCR is when it's converting the letters into text so that it can be modified. Okay. But it also converts the images into modifiable items like this, right? So I can eliminate that if I wanted to.
And if there's a little box within a box because it reads them as two separate terms, is that a problem at all? In other words, that there's an overlap, like there's a one chart area that says possible positions and possible and positions. Those boxes overlap. Is that an issue?
So it will be reading those as two different elements. So if they should be read as two different elements, say through when it's translating it to Braille or when it's reading it aloud, then if it should be read that way, it's not a problem at all. If it shouldn't be read that way, right? If it's, above and rim are in one text box and the is like pulled out by itself, it wouldn't make sense then, right? I want it to be read as above the rim.
Okay.
And so I would need to tell the computer to read it that way. And so we'll eliminate that if we need to.
Okay. That's helpful because I also see counter arguments as two different boxes, and that's not going to be helpful.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like if it's reading it one after the other, it's fine. But if it's like above rim you're like, wait, what? What's happening? Right. So basically you want it to make sense. If you think about reading it aloud and how it would make sense being read aloud, you need it to flow in that correct order.
Can we troubleshoot this a little bit more, or should we wait?
Yes, we can absolutely troubleshoot this a little bit more.
Okay, let's dive in. Let me show you one of these pages then, and let's see what's going on if I can. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these pages are okay, but this one, for example, is showing all of these different boxes and it's gotten just all cluttered up, you know. And if I click into them, there's just a million boxes here.
Yeah.
Trying to recognize it because the page was scanned crooked, I guess. So
the first thing I would do with this is crop the pages, because your right-hand page is fine and your left-hand page is a mess. And so I'd want to keep the right-hand page as it is and deal with only the left-hand page.
Okay.
So if you see the button at the top, crop pages.
And which one should I crop?
I would
one
work with
first?
only the left-hand one right now.
Okay.
So Maggie, what does this mean, crop pages? Because once I click on crop pages on my document, I just see all the boxes go away.
Yes. So right now what we're doing is we are going to cut the page in half, essentially. And so we're going to have to save this as something else so that we don't eliminate and erase the other page right now.
Oh no.
Yes.
Okay.
Very important. So maybe before you even crop, just click save as and save as,
Okay.
you know, the page number or something.
Okay, I'll stop sharing, but
No, that's helpful.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so save it as something else, and then if you can crop just that, and then we'll work with the sideways page.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to crop this and now I need to just save this one page here. Okay. Ah. I don't know why it's saying this. I guess we'll just do apply and save. I'm going to hit OK. We'll see what happens. I've saved a backup copy of this, so.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening, but.
Okay, so you'll double click it to make it actually crop it.
Okay. I'll show everybody what this looks like then. Let's see. It comes up with this box.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm just going to hit OK, and there we go. So now I have this as a separate page,
Okay.
and that's the nasty one.
Right. So I
Okay.
wonder if we can straighten that page. Let's see.
That would be a good start, yeah.
So when you click on it, does it allow you, does it show the objects panel?
Let's see. I don't know. What am I looking for?
In
Over
your
here on the
editing pane,
toolbar?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh, edit.
objects, so they're not helping you. Okay.
Oh, these
So
objects. Got it.
yeah. Have you already clicked the edit PDF? Yes, you're on edit
There we
PDF.
go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So go ahead and click into the document in one of the any place really and see how it's going. Okay. Interesting.
Maybe
So
I need to hit edit again. Hang on. Let's see.
there
Now
we
it's
go.
going to recognize it.
Yeah.
Oh, it did
Okay.
straighten it.
It
Okay.
straightened it.
Oh, that helped.
So the thing that was messing it up is that the other page was straight. So it couldn't
Okay.
just align everything, right? But when you told it, oh no, just this one page is wonky, it was like, oh, well, I should look at it this way.
Okay.
And it fixed it, right? So if you can isolate what the problem is that it's giving, whatever the problem that Adobe Acrobat is having, if you can isolate that, then it can usually correct itself. And now you see you have a beautiful large box.
Beautiful.
You did that through just by clicking on that pink thing for editing?
Yeah.
And it did it automatically?
It does, yeah.
Okay, because I've used other, other tools, not in this, where you actually line it up with something. It moves the text certain amounts of degrees, but it's
Mhm.
know that it does it automatically. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when
Yeah.
I save this file, will the text look like this a little bit out of line? Like that? That's
Yep.
a good example.
It'll look exactly what it looks like right now. But you can also, you can mess with it a little bit more if you want. And so for me, it's always that, how far from the original text do I want to get it? But you could like highlight the text and you could change the font, right? Or
Okay.
you could darken the font or, so it's whenever you have that number, do you see that number after the font? It says Cambria 9557.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so anytime you have those numbers after the font, it means that it's a recognized font and it's trying to make it as close to what it recognized as possible. But you can highlight all of that text and just make it Cambria, plain old Cambria. And that you'll see it kind of make it either a little bit bigger or maybe a little bit smaller, but it will all become more kind of uniform.
Okay.
So that's something that you could do with it. And then that also brings me to my next point that sometimes you have to correct some of the text. So sometimes it'll read something like, an S as a 5 or a 5 as an S, right? And you have to go in and just make that one change or make a couple of changes here and there. Most of the time, this is not a lot for my text. Usually it's just like a couple things here and there. And usually it's like there was some pen mark on the page or something that made it misread the page, but sometimes it's more onerous. Sometimes a whole text, if it's a poor scan quality or something like that, the whole text, there's a lot to be modified. So just note that depending on how good the original scan was, the text may need to be more or less modified.
Okay, so here's another example then of what I was getting back, where it's just a bit of a mess. I changed the font to Arial, And then it's doing this kind of stuff. If that should be artificial there, you know.
Mhm. So, and that's interesting. So what that says is that that is how it would have been read by a screen reader,
Right.
official, right? Because that's what the characters were recognized as.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes good to see the changes and then go back in to your other font, like go back to Cambria or whatever, and modify it, right? So you modify it this way and then change it back into Cambria if you wanted it to look like the original text, right? But that was good because it showed you all the places that were maybe problematic. And
Mm.
also it highlights them for you, right? It says, it has the red underline. This could be a problem. So you could go in and see.
Right, that should be die instead of dit.
Yeah,
You can go back and really fix it in on the page itself.
exactly.
Okay, so that should whoop, but then it wants to. Okay, so you got to go back to the same font. All right, it takes a while.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's like, what's better? Is it retyping the whole thing better or doing this better? Depends on the quality of your scan maybe, but also I think sometimes it's better to see the actual page, right? So in the question of like poetry or something, I'd want my students to be seeing how it looks on the page. So it's important to me to be able to do it that way. So those are some of the editing that you can do. Are we ready to move into tagging, or do we want to spend a few minutes editing?
I'm cool either way. I mean, I think
We
this,
can tag. If I keep with that document, I'm going to be here forever. So I'm not going to try to do it right now. Well, I've already done what I need to do to it, I think. But
Yeah.
I just bypassed all of this editing in Adobe and just retyped most of it.
Yeah.
So, but
And you'll see that sometimes it'll be better just to be like, okay, you know what, this one page is not going to work, or it's going to be too onerous. I'll just retype that one page and sew it in like you did. So
yeah.
that works too, right? It's just what you want to do. And you'll find, for me at least, I find that my high quality scans are actually really easy and fast in Adobe. It depends, right? If I have a really old scan that's very shadowy and stuff, it might not be as great. But if my newer scans that I'm doing right now are like perfect. I put them in and it's like, oh, good, one tag, I'm done, move on. So it just depends.
And I
Okay,
guess the trick could be get the library to do the scans if possible.
possibly, yeah, because they have really good scanners and they make sure
Yeah.
things are aligned.
Right, and they're gonna they're gonna have it in much better quality, and it'll automatically, I think, have done all this stuff.
Yeah.
And especially if it's an ebook, then it's already done that. You do have to
Oh, yeah.
double check it. But so my second reading of the class is something that I got from ProQuest ebooks, and I had to clean it a little bit, but certainly not as much as this old document. So
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. And you'll find even things that you get online, if they were done a long time ago, there'll be more cleaning than the ones that they're doing right now because technology has been improving, right? So
what, Maggie, if I can ask, what happens when the page is like gray? Because you did the text, changing and darkening the text, but sometimes there's like gray on gray. Is there
Mhm.
anything to do with that? It is, or just making the text itself darker? In other words, the font is gray, a dark, dark, dark gray, and then the page is gray. There's one text I use that has all these shades of gray, and I haven't been able to use.
So when you scan it in, you can eliminate
Oh,
the gray. So this book, the pages are gray. So you
okay.
can see this is the gray page around the white picture, right? Or this is the gray page around the writing. And so if I'm on my editing panel, I can click anywhere and see. I haven't actually done this one, so we'll see. It looks like it's picking up the color of the page as an image element. You can see that little circle right there. And let's see if I delete it, what happens. it goes away.
Oh, interesting.
And so now I have a white page.
Okay, cool.
So it will pick up all of that, the page texture, the page color, creases in your page, everything. It will pick up as an image. And so you'll be able to delete them or, keep them, but tell it that it's, a watermark or something, depending on what it is and how you want to work with the text. Does that help?
Yes, and I've been shying away from this one text because of that. So I'm just gonna play around with it.
Yeah. So in this one, this is how it started for me. And I was like, why is it so dang dark? And I just started illuminating different picture elements from it. Let's see. Cancel. Oh, because I had it in a crop. I don't want to. There we go.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I have the white page now.
Cool.
All right. So the next thing that we want to do is that we want to tag our documents. And this is another big thing for accessibility. When you have OCR pages, that's like step one. When you have a tagged document, that's like, yay, life is good. You can post it on Canvas and get the green wheel, green dashboard. I don't know what that thing is. Anyways, so here I have my text. It's editable. As you can see, this is an image. I'm going to now click on my accessibility toolbar, and it should open up this toolbar on the right-hand side. I'm sharing my screen. Everyone can see my screen right now, right? Good. Okay, so this is the right-hand toolbar. The first thing you want to do is to auto tag the document. I don't want to auto tag that one. Actually, yeah, let's retag it. Sure. Okay. And then, so it's tagged it in the background and you're not seeing any of this right now. The way you see what it's tagged and how it's tagged it is by opening up reading order. Now, in your reading order dialog box, has everyone been able to open up the reading order?
Let me see. Oh, I did.
It's right here.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Nope. Now I put this behind my Zoom toolbar and I can't get to it. Oh. So has everyone successfully opened their reading order?
Sorry, Maggie. I was trying to figure it out. I'm a little. I'm got it. Okay.
That's okay.
I finally did it.
That's what we're here for.
Like just like where is it? And it's right in front of my face.
Yeah, don't worry. So Adobe has like 10 different toolbars that you're working with at all times. So it's very natural to be like, okay, where's my next toolbar? What am I doing now? And don't worry. That is what everyone feels like. So, okay. So when you auto tag a document, if you have, this is a new scan that I did this semester, and you can see it did it beautifully. Like everything seemed, well, not that one apparently, but this first page, I was like, wow, that worked really well. And so a lot of times my especially my newer scans, there's very little I have to do with them. And I'll just like click and change. So that is a paragraph tag, and I don't want it to be a paragraph tag. You can see two different things. There are two different ways to look at your tags. Well, 3 really. In this dialog box, I'm looking right now at structure types, and that means that each tag is represented by a letter or a word in the little box. So this one is a P, and this one is a P, and this is a figure. So if I wanted to say, okay, what order are these going to be read in, I would change that from this structure type. I would select page content order instead. And then you get the number. So 1, 2, 3, which means that first the image will be read, then the title, and then this paragraph. So when I'm in my structure types, one of the tags that I'm noticing is incorrect is that the P stands for paragraph, and this is my title. So I need this to be a title and not a paragraph. So to change a tag that's existing, I just click on the P. You have to click on the little box that has the type of element it is, and then click into whichever one of these you're going to designate it as. So PDF doesn't have a title. It has heading 1 as the title. So this is the title of the document. So I would put this as my heading 1. And you can see it change that little box to be H1. And you can go through your document and you can do this with any of your documents. So here I have heading 1, paragraph, paragraph, paragraph link. That's a link. This has my figure, and you can see that it has alternative text because it says what that alt text is after the figure. Paragraph, 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 figure. There's also a heading back there, heading 2, that's behind the figure right now. So you'll see that. The other thing you can do is if you have pages like this, you can determine if you want this to be paragraph, 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 or just like one big paragraph block. So if I were to say display elements in a single block, that makes all of my paragraphs that are next to each other one big block of paragraph. Or I can keep them as multiple paragraphs. So that's how you auto tag and change tags that were not done quite right when you auto tagged it.
Can I show you my bad one again?
Yes, please do. I have a
It's-
feeling we're going to be manually tagging your bad
it
one.
is so yucky. I'm not even going to, I'm just showing this for demo purposes, I think, because it's too aggravating, but here we go.
Oh, yeah.
So there's the structure and there's the page order. So it's a real mess. Now, should I go to clear page structure?
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay, so we can get rid of all this mess, maybe.
Mhm.
Delete current page structure, sure. This is probably getting steps ahead.
Yeah. I think that's the next thing though. So we're
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, now what? Here we go.
all right. All right. So if you have a structure like this, that's just it's not going to work well with the auto tag, or you auto tagged it and you see it's not working well. You can do that clear page structure and it clears everything. If there's just 1 or 2 things that you need to eliminate, I wouldn't clear the page structure, just eliminate those 1 or 2 things, and we can talk about how to do that later. But if if the whole page just seems kind of a mess, I would eliminate the page structure and start again. So then you're going to open up your reading order panel, which it looks like yours already is, but I don't see the dialog box. Yeah.
I'll have to share that separately, I think. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Well, it went away.
Okay.
Can you see that? Let's see. No.
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So you cleared the page structure. And now what you're going to do is you're going to drag boxes around each piece of the page structure. So you're going to start at the top left outside corner of what you want to tag and drag a box down to the bottom right.
Nope.
Maybe not.
On something else, hang on. Nothing selecting yet.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to work with your pictures, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Try some of your text. There you go.
Okay.
And when those pink boxes are around it, it means that it's recognizing it as text. And then you can tag that as any of those tags. So text, paragraph, form field, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3.
Okay. Does that look okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great.
Okay. So let's see. I'm trying to find an image that I can clear. Here we go. We'll probably clear this one. So I'm betting that this is going to be a mess if I auto tag it. Now for a poem, I probably do want each line to be its own tag. And actually it did it much better than I would have expected it to. It actually looked like it did a pretty good job of this. So probably like down here, I would want to redo this page, this structure here. So what I would do is to eliminate one item from your page structure and not just eliminate the whole thing, you open up this box down here, which is your order panel. And you can see if you then move this to your page content order, the numbers will correspond with this in here. And so let's see. Probably my boom, I want it to be K-A-B-O-O-M, right? I don't want it to be just one K-A boom, because the way it's written is K-A-B-O-O-M. So what I'll do here is I'll eliminate this item from the structure. Now that's gone. And now I have K-A, so I'm going to start with the B. And that's going to be a paragraph. And then the O is going to be a paragraph. And then this is kind of hard because I'm working with what I know is behind the boxes that I'm seeing. And then, So now I have, if you look in my page structure, I have KABOOM, kaboom. And so that's the way I want it to be read, as individual letters and not as the word, right? Because that's how the poem would be read. And now I can see it like this, and I know it worked.
Maggie, can I share my screen? Because I kind of, I'm not sure. I just would like next steps, like, or what should I do
Absolutely.
with this document? So I'm gonna go, let's see. Do I, oh, I guess I can't share it. Should I do this later, or I just am not sure?
Oh, go ahead and share.
Okay. So in this document, oops, share. So in this document, I've tagged this, and it's reading this chart. These are those charts as like one image, right? Is that what's happening?
Open up your reading order panel. Let me see what it says about your reading order.
Okay, so go into reading order. And what is,
Okay.
do I just show order panel, or what do I do any of these?
So was this your auto tag?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, huh? This, like, why is this, did I do this wrong?
Clear your page structure and auto tag it again. Let me see what it does.
Okay, so clear this page structure. You really, yes, I'll do it. Okay, so clear this. Okay, I cleared it. Am I gonna get out of here? I go back to this edit PDF? No, where do I go now? Now
Auto tag.
auto tag, I'm back here, sorry. Yes, I want to auto tag it again. And then I go back to reading order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then why is it kind of light here? Like, I can't.
Well, that's because nothing is clicked on yet. So
Okay.
try clicking on the table.
Okay.
Click on the number 1.
I have to click on the, oh, I have to click on the numbers. What happens
Yeah.
if I click on this? It doesn't do anything. So what is it, reading it as an image, or is that?
So it's reading it as an image. I wonder how we can get it to read it as a table, because you will have to convert that to a table.
So maybe if I convert the whole thing to a Word document and try to get the color out and then convert it back, do you think?
Or, the other option is to, I can't read this table, but if it's not really a matrix, if it can be read all one direction,
Mhm.
right, from right to left, one option that you can do is to clear the page structure and then do your own tagging, manually tag it. And
Oh,
instead of doing like the kind of table format,
uh-huh.
I would do like, what does this say? I can't see.
Here,
Whatever's in the first box. Like, let's say I'm doing,
you mean this up here, number 1 here? Oh,
Yeah.
this introduction or exordium, the.
okay. So then maybe do your drag and drop box, and oh, that's better. Thank you. Exordium and introduction. So exordium is 1, and then introduction is number 2, and then introduction of the topic, blah 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 blah.
Okay,
so it's
so
read that way, right?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then is this 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, well, and actually it'd be more than that, because whatever comes up first on the page will be above that, and then like the classical patterns will be a title, and then you'll say like number 1 exordium, introduction, and then then introduction introduces the topic and purpose of the speech, right? Number 2, narration, background. So this is one of those moments in accessibility when we're looking at a chart that doesn't need to be a chart because it's not actually a matrix.
Oh,
It would actually be better as a list.
You know what? I think this is kind of one of my things. This is a theme that keeps coming up, right, Maggie? I've asked you about charts before. Okay, so I need to rethink the way I'm designing things. This wasn't mine, but in my other examples. Okay, this is helpful.
Yeah.
Stop sharing. I think go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, so actually you could just do the, your drag and drop boxes and do your manual tagging without making it a chart in
Okay.
terms of accessibility. And then the sighted students would still see it as a chart, but they're not reading it as a chart really. They're reading it as line by line, right?
Right. Right.
And so that's
Yes.
how the screen reader would read it as well. They'd read like exordium, introduction, description of what that is,
Okay.
narration, right? Move through that way.
Okay.
Okay. You have to remember that the screen reader or the braille reader, it's going to be linearly. So whenever you're thinking of how to do it, always think of it in terms of a line. Hi, Sarah, welcome. All right. Okay, are there other questions? So the next thing I want to show you is, has anyone had this experience where they think their document is great, they upload it to Canvas and it's like, why is this orange instead of green? And then it says, oh, you have pictures that aren't tagged. And you're like, I thought I did all of that. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, right, this is like a very common experience for me. And Adobe makes it really easy to not miss any of that, which is awesome. So let me actually close this, don't save, and then open it again. Okay. So I'm gonna go to my Alice in Wonderland text because it has lots of images. Okay, and I am sharing with you again, so you should be able to see my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. So in my accessibility panel, I have my little green or my little purple circle guy open. If I hit set alternate text, it actually scrolls through every image in your document, everything that's recognized as an image. And if any of these are blank, you have to fill them out, right? Or say that's a decorative image. So this particular document has 14 images that have been tagged and have alt text. The time that this is really useful is when you open up a document like this, where you're like, it doesn't have any images. What are you talking about? Um, maybe not this one. Sometimes you'll have a document that you don't think it has an image, but it has some sort of shadow or something on it that is being read as an image by the program. And so it's thinking that this is an image that needs to be tagged, and it's not. So that's when this is really helpful, when you're setting alternate text and it says, oh, this thing over here is alternate text and needs alternate text, and you're like, that thing over there is a fold in the page, right? And then you can say like, this is decorative, or you can go back into your editing of the PDF and just eliminate that fold of the page, that kind of thing. All right, let me see if I can open something that has a chart on it, so we can look at how you would tag charts. Although I think for most of us, maybe not for Cynthia, but for most of us, we probably won't have a lot of charts and things. Okay, let's try this. This is my syllabus. Let's see if it reads any of these things as charts. Okay. Okay, so I have some charts down here. Now you can open up your table editor. If it's reading it as a chart, you can open up the table editor. and then click on each piece, each cell. You can see that I've already tagged this one clearly because this is the one that I post for my students. The red cells are those that are the header cells. So if you open it up, table cell properties, you'll see that this is a header cell, and I have labeled it as the scope as the column. But if I go to this cell, it is not a header cell, it's a data cell. And I have given it the ID of the in-class essay, and it is supposed to be associated with the header cell of assessment. And then this is more complicated. So this is a data cell, it's not a header cell, and it is associated with two things. It's associated with the row label, which is in class essays, and it's associated with the column label, which is percentage. So that is how you would tag your charts. And as they get more complicated, the tagging also gets more complicated. But when you're thinking about it, you have to tell the assistive technology, like if you're reading it this way, like, okay, what column does it belong in? What row does it belong in? What is it associated with? So that it can properly find the point in the matrix where this element exists.
Now, if this is a .docx, do you still have to do that kind of tagging, or will it be read in properly if it's not a PDF?
You still have to do that kind of tagging. And in fact, in Word, it's easier to do this tagging. In Canvas, it's actually much more difficult to do this tagging. And you have to do all of it. So it's much more difficult.
So if we're doing it within, say, Canvas pages, do we still need to go in and tag that table?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
In fact, so PDF and I think Word as well will auto tag that top line as your, actually no, Word doesn't. PDF will auto tag the top line as your header cells. But Canvas doesn't. So as far as Canvas is concerned, it doesn't have a header cell until you've gone in and told it that it's a header cell. Okay. Other considerations, footnotes. So here is one of my texts that has a footnote. When you look at the reading order, the note is up here. And then the reference is way down here. But in the page structure, if you open up the page structure, they're actually together. So this is the note, and then this is what it's referencing. So I put it closer to where it is. I actually put it at the end of the sentence. So it interrupts the paragraph. There are lots of disagreement about how best to do that, but I think you really have to think about how it's going to interrupt the reading and where it's going to be close enough to the original note that you know that those two are linked and it makes sense, but also so that it doesn't interrupt the reading too much. So footnotes are a thing as well. Page numbers, I have given some notes about page numbers on the handout. There's actually, in accessibility, there's actually a lot of debate about how to deal with page numbers, whether page numbers are important or should just be eliminated. If I'm going to make my students cite things, then I think that they need the page numbers oftentimes. So for me, they're important. If you set them as artifacts, they won't really be read. If you set them as images, they will be read, but they'll be read as images. So you have to make it very clear, page number, that kind of thing. So I put in two different things that I've done with page numbers. And so that's just ways that I've done them.
This complicates the practices of citing for sure, right? Because
Absolutely, yeah.
we really have to think about this. If we have to pay attention to page numbers, you know, making sure that looks right, or we need to think about, I mean, are people going to count paragraphs? Not unless we count them for them.
Mhm.
So it brings us to an interesting question about citation for our text in class. It's pretty
Absolutely.
interesting. Okay. I don't know.
There are no answers.
Yeah, yeah, it complicates things for sure.
Whenever I've done anything that's successful, I always save as I go. So like, even if I just hit edit PDF and then everything that I want to be in box is in a box. So clearly it's read all the text. I'm like, okay, save so that I know that it's done that piece, right? If I've tagged one thing correctly, save. So I save after every like successful thing I do so that if I do have to like close it and just not deal with it, or my computer crashes or something, I'm not losing a ton of work that I've already done. And then when you want to add your pages back together, you just drag and drop them into the page thumbnails and it will stitch it all back together. You save it and it's all one big document again. And it should, fingers crossed, it should maintain all of its tagging. All right. All that I have for you, unless we have more trouble. I just have troubleshooting after that. So what other questions or concerns or problems are you having with specific documents?
If we have an image that is not being recognized, how do we draw a box around it and set some alternate text?
Yeah, so I was actually looking at an article. Oh, that went to Maria. Hang on, I'll send it to everyone. About this. Interesting. So this is actually just saying that the issue was the competing versions of Adobe. Yeah. Okay, so let's try this. Can you right click and then hit add image?
Oh, let's see.
I feel like I showed up to class late, so I'm still trying to catch up. Because I did show up late. I was in another meeting though.
So Reed had an image that was not being read by Adobe as an image, which I actually have not seen. So
Okay, well, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe I'm talking about something so like Elvis here, I think is being recognized. There he is. So that one's okay.
he was being recognized on that page?
He's okay. I think he's okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he does look like an image. Okay.
But
So this is one
then
of those
that altered.
times when for this document, especially because you're doing the double-sided, the 2 pages, it's probably best to divide them up. If you had more documents
this is
like
too
this.
much of a mess to, to even do for demo purposes now. But yeah, I think that's the really important tip now is scan these as individual pages. That way you can deal with them one by one.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Other questions?
I think this, I mean, I only came for the very end, but I'm gonna work on some of the stuff for my own class for spring now. And just I think I might have questions come up as I'm doing it in real time. So it's okay to reach out with questions as I'm working.
Absolutely. In fact, if you all want to work, we still have a half hour. So I'm happy to sit here and work through things with you and make sure that if you're working on an actual item that you're going to use for class, that it can be at least started in the next half hour. And then after that, I was thinking of offering some times when people, if they need help troubleshooting or whatever, can kind of do an office hours type thing with me. And I can do some troubleshooting.
I think that'd be great if you're up
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, happy to help. So
I
Yeah,
may be
let's-
at my limit now, but
yeah,
not because of you, because of just, other stuff.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now.
Okay.